Hey guys, tonight we slowly wander into the quiet folds of a forgotten valley, where every breeze carries the memory of an ancient people who once lived in harmony with water. As the night settles softly around us, imagine the peaceful rhythm of distant hills, the way they exhaled mist like gentle sighs at the end of each day. This journey will guide us through the remnants of the Fischari civilization, whose traces remain like faint ripples across stone and silt. The breath of the old waters still lingers around cool stones, where time flows quietly. A gentle mystery envelops the valley, one that generations have yet to fully understand. You probably won't survive all the tranquility. Just kidding. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to comment where you are and the time it is in your part of the world. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you step forward, the path beneath your feet feels soft and welcoming, each stone warmed by the memory of countless steps that have crossed this valley before you. The air carries a faint, earthy scent, like moss that has soaked up sunlight for decades and released it slowly back into the evening. You notice a small stream nearby, its water whispering over pebbles, and each ripple seems to echo with stories older than your imagination can hold. It is quiet, yet there is a subtle resonance, a melody only the valley knows. If you listen closely, you might even hear it laughing gently at your thoughts, or at least that's what it feels like. The valley curves gently ahead, cradling clusters of trees that have stood as silent witnesses for centuries. Their roots tangle over stone and soil, forming intricate patterns that resemble the Fibonacci spirals, as if nature itself was attempting to map the perfection of water's flow. You pause and run a hand along the bark of an ancient tree, feeling grooves that speak of time, measured in hundreds of quiet days. Somewhere, a small bird calls, its voice carrying just far enough to touch your ears, and then drift away like a half-remembered dream. The balance of movement and stillness here makes you notice your own heartbeat slowing, aligning almost imperceptibly with the rhythm of the Fischari Valley. Not far ahead, you notice the first traces of Fischari stonework, half hidden beneath moss and ivy. The carved swirls ripple across the surface, like water turning in a quiet eddy. Scholars still puzzle over their meaning, though local folklore claims they are whispers left by water spirits. You crouch to study the lines, imagining long-gone hands shaping a language of quiet devotion. The stones feel cool, as if they still hold the memory of flowing water. Whether it's a natural quirk or the valley preserving the Fischari's essence, the chilled touch sends a pleasant shiver reminding you that this place lives differently from any town or city. Moving gently onward, you sense the land's soft rise and fall, as if the valley itself is breathing. You cross a tiny, clear stream and watch your reflection blend with the shifting light above, playful, fleeting, almost like a quiet joke shared with travelers. A small laugh escapes you, merging easily with the night's hush. The air carries damp earth and a hint of wild herbs releasing their scent around you. Each breath feels ancient and soothing, warming your chest and loosening the last tight threads of thought. As twilight deepens, the first hints of mist rise from the ground, curling around the stones and trees like gossamer threads. You notice how it moves slowly, deliberately, almost as if the valley itself is breathing in and out. Within the mist, shadows of the Fischari past seem to shimmer shapes of people tending streams, carving stones, walking these very paths. You can almost feel their presence, a gentle echo rather than a ghost, and it calms rather than startles. Occasionally, a tiny insect skitters across a leaf, its movement minuscule, but part of the subtle symphony around you. You might even imagine that the valley chuckles quietly at your careful steps, or perhaps at the idea that anyone could hurry here. The longer you walk, the more the valley seems to slow time itself. Even your thoughts begin to drift like the mist, coiling and uncoiling with an ease you rarely allow yourself. You notice the way the fading light touches each stone differently, revealing textures and patterns you never saw at first glance. Every step feels considered, as if the valley asks you to move gently to honor its patience. You might catch a glimpse of a small water insect skimming the surface of a hidden pool, and its delicate motion makes you smile, a soft, private joke in the quiet. The feeling is so immersive that you almost forget the world outside the valley, leaving behind all the noise, all the schedules, and all the bright, intrusive lights. Each winding curve of the path invites a soft, unhurried curiosity. You stop to admire a tiny cluster of pale flowers, their petals glowing faintly in the dimming light, quivering as if echoing the valley's gentle breath. Their subtle fragrance mixes with the river's whisper and the earthy scent of moss. A delicate breeze stirs the mist, brushing your cheeks, loosening your shoulders, and quieting your mind. Even the distant hills seem to incline in greeting, their dark silhouettes merging gracefully with drifting clouds, moving in a slow, serene, almost hypnotic dance that the valley has held for centuries. A small round stone draws your attention, its smooth surface glimmering in the fading light, like a tiny sun holding gentle warmth. The thought makes you smile, and the valley seems to respond with quiet softness. Everything here feels intentional, slow, and peaceful, inviting you to set aside the outside world. Even the leaves above rustle in a steady, unhurried rhythm, like a heartbeat echoing through Fischari Valley. You breathe deeply, letting your mind sink into the calm of this once forgotten, tranquil place. You step onto the ancient path, your feet touching stones that have felt countless steps over centuries. The trail stretches before you like a quiet ribbon of memory, winding gently through the valley. Each stone is carefully placed, reminiscent of Roman aqueduct roads, laid to guide water thoughtfully toward distant settlements. You notice how the stones seem unusually cool beneath your touch, even though the afternoon sun warms the air around you. It is an effect that scholars and travelers alike have observed, yet it remains unexplained, as if the valley itself holds a secret smile for those who wander slowly enough to notice. The path curves gently alongside a narrow stream that murmurs softly. Its waters ripple over pebbles in patterns that feel almost deliberate, as if tracing the very markings on the stones underfoot. You pause, letting the air fill your lungs, and noticing the faint scent of damp earth mingling with the subtle aroma of wild herbs. Your steps slow instinctively, and you realize that moving quickly here would feel almost disrespectful, as if the valley were asking you to honor the pace it has maintained for generations. The stones beneath your feet seem to hum with a quiet energy, subtle and calming, aligning your rhythm with the slow pulse of water itself. Along the path, you see small clusters of moss clinging to stones, green and velvety, absorbing the faint trickle of mist that rises from the stream. It feels as if time moves differently here. Seconds stretch just slightly longer, and you notice the smallest details. The way the wind bends the reeds along the stream, the way a tiny insect skims over water, leaving a faint ripple that disappears slowly. These details invite you to move with care, to breathe deliberately, and to feel the subtle conversation between stone, water, and air. You smile at your own awareness, as though the valley is a patient teacher showing you the art of stillness. The path occasionally rises, and as you climb a gentle incline, the valley opens wider, revealing distant hills that ripple softly in the evening light. Their contours seem fluid, echoing the movement of the water that shaped this land. You notice the stream continuing alongside you, winding like a silver thread through the landscape. Occasionally, a fish flashes just beneath the surface, vanishing before you can follow its path. You chuckle softly, thinking that the Fischari people may have watched these same fish, marking the rhythm of days and seasons, their lives flowing alongside the water they revered so much. Some of the stones along the way bear faint carvings, circular spirals, and subtle swirls that suggest both artistry and devotion. Scholars have debated their meaning for years. Some historians still wonder whether these were purely decorative or perhaps a form of meditation, a way for the Fischari to connect their daily steps with the eternal flow of rivers and streams. You run your fingers over a carved spiral, feeling the smooth indentation and imagining hands long gone, pressing with care into the stone, leaving a touch that time cannot erase. It is a small, quiet connection, a whisper from the past that travels softly into the present. The air is filled with a gentle murmur, the quiet gurgle of water over stone, the occasional rustle of leaves overhead, and the subtle hum of life that has always accompanied this path. You notice how your own footsteps sound different here, soft, thoughtful, measured. The coolness of the stones underfoot seems to pull energy from the ground, filling your legs with a calm warmth that spreads upward. You realize that walking slowly, in rhythm with the valley, changes not only your pace, but also your perception. Time feels longer, lighter, less urgent. A small smile comes to your lips as you imagine the Fischari walking the same stone centuries ago, perhaps sharing your exact sense of quiet awe. The path twists gently, and sunlight filtering through the canopy casts dappled patterns on the stones. These patterns move slowly with the breeze, making the ground seem alive, as though the valley itself is breathing and shifting just enough to notice you. Small flowers peek through cracks between the stones, delicate and shy, their colors muted but unmistakably present. You step carefully around them, aware that the valley encourages respect and gentleness, inviting you to experience every detail with calm attention. You notice that the water glimmers more vividly here, reflecting both light and shadow in a way that feels almost intentional, as if nature is composing a quiet, ever-changing mural just for your eyes. As you move onward, the path narrows, guiding you between walls of moss-draped rock and lush clusters of ferns that lean toward the trail as if observing your passage. Beside you, the stream hums a constant, soothing lullaby, its gentle gurgle weaving effortlessly with the occasional, distant bird call. A profound sense of calm spreads through your body, aligning with the water's steady, unhurried rhythm, as though the valley itself were instructing you in the art of moving without rush and existing without tension. Each footfall reinforces a feeling of quiet belonging, not as an outsider intruding, but as a guest embraced by the valley's patient, enduring presence. Time here feels different, slower, almost sacred, as generations of Fischari life and nature have intertwined, leaving behind a subtle yet unmistakable pulse that welcomes you fully into its serene, age-old rhythm. The journey along the old Fischari path is slow, deliberate, and comforting. You notice the subtle rise and fall of the stones beneath your feet, the gentle curves that guide your eyes toward distant horizons, and the way the coolness underfoot keeps you grounded in the present moment. It is a journey that encourages mindfulness, patience, and quiet joy. And as you move onward, you feel the subtle pulse of the valley aligning with your own, a gentle reminder that in this place, the flow of water and the flow of time are one. Every step feels like a soft conversation, and you realize that the path itself has stories to tell if only you are willing to walk slowly enough to listen. You continue along the gentle path, and a soft mist begins to rise from the valley floor. It curls and drifts like delicate fingers, moving slowly over stones and streams, wrapping the world in a quiet, pale embrace. The mist reminds you of descriptions from ancient texts of golden fog that once appeared along the Nile in Egypt, settling over the river at dawn. You imagine the way those early observers must have felt, watching light and water dance together with a calm reverence, much like the scene unfolding before your eyes in the Fischari Valley. The air is cool and damp, and each breath you take fills your lungs with a faint earthy scent, subtle but grounding, as if time itself has slowed to accommodate the quiet beauty of this place. Through the mist, you begin to notice faint markings etched into the stones that line the path. They are circular, spiral-like, and softly glowing in the pale light of the evening. The designs twist like tiny whirlpools frozen in stone, each one unique, each one telling a story in a language that is no longer spoken. Some of the spirals are shallow, almost imperceptible, while others are deeply carved, casting long, soft shadows in the mist. You bend closer to examine them, tracing a finger along the curves, feeling the subtle dips and rises, and sensing the meticulous care with which they were made. A quiet chuckle escapes your lips as you imagine the Fischari artisans carving these symbols with patience and intent, perhaps humming the rhythm of a distant stream as they worked. The mist drifts between the symbols, sometimes hiding them, sometimes revealing them just long enough for you to catch a glimpse. Each shift seems deliberate, almost as though the valley itself is arranging a slow, gentle puzzle for your eyes. The stones seem to breathe beneath your fingertips, responding to the presence of the mist and your careful attention. You notice that some symbols appear to shimmer faintly as the air cools, creating the sense that they are alive, or at least attentive to the wandering observer. It is a subtle enchantment, calming and meditative, as if the mist and stone are conspiring to lull your thoughts into a quiet, reflective state. Some of the markings remain mysterious, resisting every attempt to understand them fully. Their purpose and meaning are lost to time, yet their presence is profoundly soothing. Scholars have spent years speculating about their significance. Some suggest that these spirals may have been a form of recording the movements of water, an ancient map of rivers and currents, while others propose that they were symbolic expressions of meditation and introspection. You step slowly along the path, noticing that the spirals often appear near water, reinforcing the idea that the Fischari understood the gentle, patient rhythm of flowing streams and wished to honor it in stone. The mist thickens slightly as you move further, curling around your ankles and brushing your cheeks with cool, damp tendrils. You pause to inhale deeply, feeling the calm energy of the valley seep into your being. The stones beneath your feet maintain their mysterious coolness, and together with the drifting fog, they create a sense of timeless serenity. A faint glimmer catches your eye, and you realize it is sunlight filtering through the canopy above, refracted by the mist, creating tiny, moving rainbows that dance across the carvings. You smile quietly at the spectacle, a soft, almost private joke shared between you and the valley. Here and there, the carvings take on forms that resemble spiraling water or whirls, sometimes interspersed with abstract shapes that evoke floating leaves or drifting petals. You notice that the spirals repeat in different areas along the path, as if guiding the wanderer forward, not with words, but with gentle visual cues. The patterns feel familiar and foreign at once, comforting and mysterious. The mist heightens this effect, softening edges and blending shapes into a dreamlike tapestry. You realize that each step you take reveals new details, and the longer you move through this space, the more attuned you become to the subtle communication between stone, mist, and air. Occasionally, a drop of water forms along the edge of a leaf or a small stone, falling with a soft plink into the stream below. The sound is almost imperceptible, yet it blends harmoniously with the whispering wind and the faint murmur of distant water. Every element here seems synchronized in a deliberate, slow dance, one that encourages you to move gently, breathe deeply, and let go of hurried thoughts. You imagine the Fischari walking these stones centuries ago, pausing to admire the same symbols, feeling the same coolness, and moving in harmony with the mist that now surrounds you. As you walk further along the path, you notice that some of the carved spirals seem to follow the streams, tracing the water's flow in a way that feels known only to the Fischari. The patterns are both a gentle puzzle and a subtle lullaby, drawing your gaze and focus with quiet insistence. Mist drifts over the stonework, sometimes concealing, sometimes revealing the intricate lines, creating a rhythm that feels almost like the valley itself breathing. You find yourself unconsciously mirroring that rhythm, inhaling and exhaling in harmony with the land. Each step becomes slower, more deliberate, as your body and mind align with the valley's quiet pulse, moving in unison with the serene, patient life that surrounds you. By the time you pause at a gentle bend, the mist has thickened into a soft veil that muffles distant sounds and wraps the valley in a cocoon of quiet. You can see the markings in brief glimpses, glimmering faintly beneath the haze like memories of water frozen in stone. You realize that these symbols, like the valley itself, are patient and eternal, waiting for anyone who chooses to move slowly enough to notice their quiet, serene beauty. And as you take another step, your feet cushioned by the smooth, cool stones, you feel the valley's gentle embrace guiding you forward, deeper into the slow, meditative journey that has always been its way. You arrive at a gentle incline where the path opens into a series of old stone steps. Each step is carved from solid rock, worn smooth by centuries of careful passage. The stones rise and fall like a rhythm frozen in time, evoking images of the Andean terraces, where the Inca once built their careful paths along mountainsides. Here, the stones seem to invite you to pause and take notice, each one holding centuries of quiet energy, memories of hands that carved and placed them with reverence. The cool surface beneath your fingertips feels steady and reassuring, grounding you in the moment. As you step onto the first stair, a subtle vibration travels beneath your feet. It is almost imperceptible, a gentle hum that feels like the stone itself is breathing. You pause, marveling at the sensation, and imagine the people who once moved along these steps. Archaeologists have recorded similar vibrations, yet no one has definitively explained why they occur. Some historians still debate whether it is the result of a unique construction technique, one that intentionally allowed the stones to flex slightly, or a rare geological response to shifting underground currents. Whatever the cause, the effect is strangely calming, a rhythmic companion to your slow, deliberate ascent. The stairs wind upward in soft, undulating curves, following the natural slope of the valley. Each step is uneven in height, a gentle reminder that time has passed, wearing away the precision of their original form. You notice tiny patches of moss nestled between stones, their green softness providing contrast to the gray, cool surfaces. The mist from earlier lingers here, swirling in delicate threads that trace the curves of each step. Light filters through the canopy, catching droplets and casting faint, shifting reflections across the stones. You can almost imagine the Fischari walking here centuries ago, their robes brushing the edges of these steps, moving with purpose, yet without hurry. You take a slow, deep breath, allowing your senses to fill with the subtle symphony of the valley. The distant trickle of water, the faint rustle of leaves, the occasional hum of a stone vibrating beneath your weight. The steps encourage mindfulness. Every footfall is deliberate, every motion measured. As you rise, you notice faint carvings etched into some stones. They are spiral forms, echoing the water motifs seen along the lower paths, linking the steps to the broader rhythm of the valley. You trace a spiral with your hand, feeling the subtle depth and imagining the hands that left these marks. A tiny smile forms as you think that perhaps like you, they moved with patience and reverence, aware of the soft pulse of life around them. Partway up, one step vibrates just a bit more than the others. You pause to examine it, placing both hands on its surface. The movement is subtle, almost shy, like the stone is breathing alongside you. You realize that it does not startle you. Instead, it feels as if the step acknowledges your presence, welcoming your attention with a gentle pulse. The sensation is calming, meditative even, and you find your breathing slowing in response. The surrounding air feels lighter, more spacious, as if the steps themselves are creating a rhythm that encourages relaxation. A small bird chirps faintly somewhere above, a delicate counterpoint to the quiet hum of the stones beneath your feet. Some historians still debate the purpose and origin of this subtle movement. One theory suggests that the Fischari intentionally engineered the steps to vibrate slightly, perhaps to mimic the gentle flow of water or to instill a sense of calm in those ascending. Another explanation considers the possibility of natural geological activity interacting with the materials of the stone, producing vibrations as temperature or moisture changes. Regardless of the cause, you feel no need to resolve the mystery. It is enough to notice, to be present, and to allow the quiet rhythm to guide you upward. The steps rise steadily, each one inviting contemplation and patience. The air grows cooler as you ascend, mingling with the faint scent of stone, moss, and damp earth. You hear the gentle rustle of leaves above, stirred by a soft breeze that moves lazily through the valley. Small ferns cling to cracks in the stones, their delicate fronds brushing your knees as you pass. You imagine the Fischari tending to these paths, maintaining them not only as functional routes, but as meditative spaces, places where walking itself became a form of gentle reflection. As you continue, the path narrows slightly, pressing you gently against walls of rock softened by centuries of moss. Sunlight streams through the canopy in narrow shafts, illuminating the carvings on certain steps and highlighting tiny imperfections, each one a testament to time. You notice how your footsteps sound softer here, absorbed by the cool, dense stone and the mist that swirls around. Every step feels deliberate, measured, connected to a rhythm older than your memory. It is a quiet reminder that some paths are not meant to be rushed, that the slow passage through space and time brings its own rewards. Near the top, a particularly broad stone seems to invite rest. You place a hand upon it and feel the gentle vibration more distinctly than before. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the soft pulse resonate through your fingers and into your body. The valley around you seems to inhale and exhale in tandem, as if the stones themselves are guiding a slow, meditative dance. The subtle motion, the cool stone, the drifting mist all combine into a moment of perfect stillness. You realize that ascending these steps is not merely a physical journey. It is a movement through history, a quiet communion with those who came long before, and a gentle reminder to walk slowly, breathe deeply, and notice the rhythm that underlies everything. And as you pause to take in the view from this point, the valley stretching beyond, you feel the steps beneath your feet and the mist around you become part of your own rhythm. Every step, every vibration, every delicate swirl carved into the stone becomes a gentle meditation, a soft invitation to continue deeper into the quiet mystery of the Fischari world. As you continue along the gently winding path, the light begins to shift. The valley grows softer, the mist curling lazily among stones and trees, and then, faintly at first, you notice a glow. Lanterns appear along the edges of the path, suspended from carved posts and low branches, their light warm and inviting. The flickering orange and gold reminds you of the lantern festivals of Hoi An, where hundreds of lanterns float along the river, reflecting dreams and stories back to those who watch. Here, the lanterns seem to sway gently in harmony with the valley's breath, guiding you onward with a calm, steady rhythm. Each lantern casts delicate shadows on the stones beneath your feet, patterns dancing slowly like water reflections. You notice that the stones themselves seem cooler, as if the light draws the warmth out of the air and into the soft glow around you. It is mesmerizing, the way shadows stretch and shrink as the lanterns swing slightly in the breeze. You pause, letting the soft illumination wash over your eyes and feel a quiet connection to the generations of waterkeepers who once carried these lanterns along similar paths, performing rituals that honored streams, springs, and the gentle flow of life. Between the lanterns, you notice fragments of ancient Fischari pottery scattered along the path, half buried in moss and soil. Their surfaces shimmer faintly as the lantern light grazes them, changing color subtly from warm ochre to soft green, and sometimes to a cool silvery blue. This phenomenon has long puzzled historians and scientists alike. The glazes appear to respond to the intensity and angle of light in ways modern experiments have yet to replicate. You reach down to touch one carefully, feeling the smooth, slightly warm surface beneath your fingertips, imagining the hands that crafted it centuries ago. Each shard seems to hold a quiet secret, a hint of the mysteries the Fischari cherished in their daily lives. The path glows gently ahead, lit in a series of lantern pools that seem almost magical. The lights stretch along the trail in a subtle arc, highlighting the contours of the valley and the gentle slope of the stones beneath your feet. You notice how the mist moves through the lantern light, refracting soft beams into faint halos around each glow. The effect is hypnotic, calming, as if the valley itself is performing a slow, deliberate dance to lull you deeper into your awareness and yet farther into relaxation. A faint giggle escapes you, thinking that perhaps the valley enjoys showing off its quiet tricks. A soft, private joke shared only with those who take the time to notice. As you walk, you see that the lanterns are not arranged randomly. They seem to trace a path that follows the flow of the stream, their light dancing on rippling water, casting reflections that shift gently with the current. Each step forward is measured, deliberate, as though the lights themselves are teaching you the rhythm of the valley. You notice the subtle hum in the air, almost imperceptible, like the collective whisper of the water keepers, guiding travelers along these paths long ago. Every movement of the lanterns and the shifting reflection seems to mirror the slow, deliberate pulses of water in the streams nearby. Between lanterns, occasional fragments of carved stone appear, etched with gentle swirls and whirlpools. You pause to examine them, letting the flickering light illuminate their patterns. The spirals echo motifs seen along the lower paths, connecting this luminous trail to the older, quieter markers of the valley. They remind you that light and water were central to the Fischari way of life, each element carrying meaning, each symbol placed with intention. Some carvings catch the lantern glow and seem almost to shimmer, as if they respond to the observer's gaze, inviting you to slow down, notice, and breathe. The further you walk, the more immersive the scene becomes. Lanterns dangle above small pools, their reflection doubled and broken into shimmering mosaics by the faint ripple of water. You step carefully along the stone path, feeling the cool surfaces underfoot, letting the quiet magic of the light guide your senses. The subtle warmth of the lanterns contrasts with the cool mist and stone, creating a comforting balance that feels like an embrace from the valley itself. Your breathing slows naturally, syncing with the gentle sway of light and the delicate whisper of water. Occasionally, a small lantern wavers more than the others, its light flickering across the misty ground in playful patterns. You pause and notice a tiny trail of droplets glimmering along the edge of the path, catching the lantern light like scattered jewels. The effect is hypnotic and calming, a gentle reminder that the valley is alive in the smallest details. Even the faintest sound, the drip of water, the subtle rustle of leaves, is amplified softly by the mist, joining the lanterns in a serene symphony that fills the space around you. The glow stretches onward, leading you deeper into the quiet heart of the valley. You notice the gentle arc of the path, the curve of the stream, the careful spacing of lanterns. It is a choreography perfected over centuries, a ritual of light designed to guide, soothe, and inspire. You feel yourself moving in rhythm with the trail, your steps slow, measured, almost meditative. Each moment feels suspended, delicate, and enduring. The lantern light, soft and warm, seems to wrap the valley around you, creating a cocoon of calm. By the time the path begins to level, the lanterns have become a gentle river of light, guiding your gaze and your thoughts toward the quiet mysteries ahead. You notice the soft shimmer of pottery fragments and carved stones along the way, illuminated just enough to draw your attention. The trail seems to whisper softly to you, a lullaby composed of gentle light, quiet motion, and the echo of centuries of reverence for water. You walk with care, letting each step and each glow guide you into a slow, peaceful rhythm, as if the valley itself is leading you toward an ancient dream, one of stillness, beauty, and soft illumination. You step carefully from the lantern-lit path into a wider space where the valley opens, revealing gentle slopes and low, rolling hills. The air changes subtly here, carrying a calm that is different from the stream-side paths or the glowing lanterns. Sound moves differently in this space. Even the faintest whisper seems to linger, held briefly in the air before fading, creating an echo that feels almost like a memory of noise. You notice your own footsteps are softer here, absorbed by the damp earth and moss-covered stones, yet their rhythm seems to stretch into the stillness around you. It is as though the valley itself listens, allowing sound to settle slowly, almost reverently, into its folds. This gentle resonance reminds you of the accounts in the journals of Ottoman explorers, who described valleys where even a soft word could be held in the air, suspended for a moment before vanishing entirely. You take a slow, deep breath, and the soft murmur of distant water seems to join with the lingering echoes, forming a subtle symphony of quiet sound. Each inhalation carries with it the faint scent of earth and mist, creating a multisensory rhythm that encourages your body to relax and your mind to wander slowly, without urgency. You imagine that every sound you make here is noted by the valley, absorbed and returned in its own time, a conversation conducted in whispers of air and stone. The valley floor stretches beneath you, blanketed in soft, verdant moss, dotted with small, smooth stones and low clusters of fragrant herbs. Even the tiniest motions, a branch brushing gently against another, a drop of water sliding from a leaf, send subtle vibrations rippling outward, lingering longer than seems natural. This delicate phenomenon, mysterious to countless visitors over the centuries, brings no fear or tension, only a profound sense of serenity. You pause, closing your eyes to better hear, letting the faint echoes wash over you, feeling an almost weightless connection to the living valley. According to Fischari belief, even water could perceive thought, and the valley itself acted as a reflective consciousness, attentive to those who moved softly and respectfully through its space. Every sound, every shift of light or shadow feels intentional, as if the land itself is breathing, listening, and quietly acknowledging your presence. A low mist rises from the valley floor, weaving between the gentle slopes and caressing your ankles. It curls in the sunlight, filtering through the treetops, creating fleeting shadows that move as slowly and deliberately as the sounds around you. You notice that your breathing has slowed without conscious effort, syncing subtly with the natural rhythm of the space. Even the distant call of a bird feels softened, suspended briefly in the air before returning to silence. Each echo seems to invite reflection, not thought or analysis, but a gentle awareness of presence. You feel the sensation of being both observer and participant, moving within a space that listens while remaining serene and undisturbed. The soft hum of wind passing through the valley's curves joins the lingering echoes of your steps, creating a subtle harmony that encourages a meditative state. You step carefully over small stones, noticing their smooth, cool surfaces beneath your feet. Some of these stones have faint markings, spirals and whirls reminiscent of those you saw along the lantern-lit path. Here, however, the carvings feel quieter, their energy absorbed by the gentle resonance of the valley. You imagine the Fischari moving among these stones centuries ago, pausing to listen to the echoes, to commune with the subtle pulse of their environment. The quiet seems intentional, a space designed to bring stillness and reflection to all who enter. As you walk further, the valley slopes rise slightly, forming natural amphitheaters where sound lingers even longer. You speak a soft word, and it returns to you after a brief pause, carried by the gentle architecture of earth and stone. The experience is strangely comforting. It encourages you to slow your pace, to notice subtle details, and to allow your thoughts to drift freely. Even the faint trickle of water along hidden streams seems to participate, echoing softly before disappearing into the still air. Each lingering sound becomes a gentle companion, a reminder that this valley has its own rhythm, a pulse that is calming and hypnotic. Small clusters of flowers emerge through the mossy floor, their petals catching the soft light of the late afternoon. You notice that their movement in the breeze seems synchronized with the echoes, subtle nods that create the sense of a valley in quiet conversation with itself. Tiny insects hover and flit, their soft wings brushing through the mist, each movement adding to the delicate symphony of resonance. You find yourself walking with greater awareness, attuned to the soft interplay of sound, light, and motion. Your steps become slower, more deliberate, matching the tempo of this gentle environment. The valley seems to encourage stillness, inviting you to pause in its embrace and notice the subtle wonder of suspended sound. You feel your muscles loosen, your mind quiet, and your senses sharpen in ways that feel both soothing and enlivening. The Fischari called this place a space where water could hear the thoughts of humans, a living meditation where presence and awareness intertwined with nature. Standing in the center of the valley, you sense the faintest vibration beneath your feet, as if the valley itself responds to your calm, sharing with you its quiet pulse. Every sound here, from the softest footfall to the whisper of the wind, seems to stretch slightly longer than it would elsewhere. The effect is enchanting, hypnotic, and deeply relaxing. You feel as if time itself has slowed, allowing you to linger within this quiet resonance, absorbing its gentle wisdom. Each echo reminds you that patience and careful observation are paths to true understanding. The valley enfolds you in a soft, timeless embrace, guiding you to move slowly, breathe mindfully, and fully immerse yourself in the serene rhythm of its ancient, watchful heart. Every subtle sound, every lingering pause, pulls you further into its quiet, enduring presence, leaving a sense of calm that lingers long after each step. You leave the soft echoes of the valley behind and follow a gentle bend that leads you to a narrow stream, its waters rippling softly over smooth stones. The stream carries the faint scent of herbs that grow along its banks, mingling subtly with the cool, damp air. You notice small leaves drifting atop the water, delicate green shapes that seem almost deliberately placed, guiding your gaze and your thoughts in a quiet, meditative rhythm. As you step closer, the surface of the water catches the fading light, sparkling gently, inviting you to pause and savor the moment. Nearby, a small hearth has been carefully arranged, with stones forming a circle around a low fire. A soft, inviting glow radiates warmth into the cool evening air. Sitting beside it, you notice a simple arrangement of dried herbs, tied carefully in bundles. The air carries the faint, comforting aroma of leaves long harvested and preserved, their fragrance gentle yet invigorating. You are reminded of ancient Fischari tea rituals, where preparing a simple infusion of herbs was not just an act of nourishment, but a ceremony of mindfulness, a way to honor the slow rhythm of life by the streams. You reach for a small bundle of dried leaves and place them in a shallow vessel. As hot water is poured, a thin, curling steam rises, carrying the scent of the herbs through the valley. The aroma is soft and calming, like a gentle sigh that fills the space between you and the stream. You inhale deeply, letting the warmth of the scent settle in your chest, softening tension and inviting a deep sense of relaxation. The vapor drifts upward, catching the dim light and creating faint glimmers, like tiny lanterns hovering just above the surface of the water. Some of the leaves seem to glow faintly in the dim light, their edges catching a gentle luminescence that flickers almost imperceptibly. This phenomenon has long been noted by those who study the Fischari, yet it remains unexplained, a subtle mystery that adds to the charm of the ritual. You watch the tiny glow pulse with the rising steam, feeling a quiet connection to the hands that once harvested and dried these same herbs, preparing them with care for moments such as this. The soft radiance seems to mirror the pulse of the stream beside you, creating a gentle harmony of light, water, and scent. You lift the cup to your lips and take a slow sip. The flavor is mild and soothing, a gentle warmth that spreads through your body. It is more than tea. It is a quiet companion, a reminder to slow down and allow yourself to become fully present. The taste carries subtle notes of earth and water, as though the stream itself has been infused into the brew. Each swallow is a soft meditation, connecting you to the natural rhythm of the valley and the centuries of care that the Fischari have put into every ritual, every step, every breath. Around you, the mist rises again, curling gently over the surface of the stream and the mossy stones at its edge. The rising vapor mingles with the warmth of the tea, softening the edges of the world and creating a cocoon of gentle tranquility. You notice the faint movement of tiny fish beneath the water, their scales catching the pale light of the fading sun. Each ripple of the stream seems deliberate, echoing the careful rhythm of your own breathing. The soft hiss of the tea infusing, the gentle flow of water, the rustle of leaves, everything is synchronized in a quiet, hypnotic harmony. You let your fingers trail lightly through the water, feeling the cool liquid swirl around the edges of your hand. The sensation is grounding and meditative, linking your body to the stream and the herbs by its banks. Small flowers bloom along the edge, their petals close softly for the evening, their forms delicate and reassuring. You imagine that the Fischari, too, paused beside these streams, holding cups of warm herbal infusions, letting the scents and warmth settle into their awareness, teaching themselves patience, gratitude, and the soft power of quiet observation. The mist thickens gently, drifting higher over the stream, and the glow of the small hearth creates faint, shifting shadows across the rocks. You take another sip of tea, noticing how the warmth spreads not only through your body, but also through your thoughts, softening any tension from the day. The world feels slower, gentler, as if the valley itself has taken a deep breath and invited you to do the same. The herbs, the water, the light all converge into a single soothing experience that encourages presence and reflection. As you settle onto a smooth stone beside the hearth, the stream murmuring softly at your side, you notice the stars beginning to appear overhead, faint points of light mirrored subtly in the water. The glow from the hearth and the faint luminescence of the herbs create a delicate interplay of warm and cool light, complementing the soft shadows of the valley walls. You feel a profound sense of calm, a gentle alignment between your rhythm and the rhythm of the valley. Every sip of tea, every breath, every soft sound around you becomes part of a continuous, gentle flow. You lean back slightly, letting the warmth of the tea, the glow of the herbs, and the subtle murmur of the stream wash over you. The valley feels alive yet serene, the past and present blending into a slow, peaceful continuity. The herbal warmth carries you into a meditative state, softening the edges of awareness and encouraging your mind to drift slowly, like leaves floating on water. You realize that the Fischari understood this, that they used simple rituals like tea beside streams to cultivate stillness, presence, and a deep connection to the rhythm of the natural world. The hearthlight flickers softly, mist drifting as the stream murmurs its quiet song. Your body and mind ease into the moment, each breath a wave of warmth and calm. Time stretches gently, as if the valley sings a tender lullaby, inviting you to linger and sink into Fischari's peaceful heart. You follow the soft, winding path until it opens into a quiet, vaulted space. The air here feels cooler and more still, as though the world itself pauses at the entrance. The architecture immediately captures your attention. Arched ceilings rise overhead, reminiscent of the ancient library of Celsus in Ephesus. Stone columns flank the space, worn smooth by centuries, their surfaces cool beneath your fingers. You notice the faint scent of old stone mingled with the lingering aroma of herbs from the nearby stream, creating a subtle comfort that invites a slow, measured exploration. A faint glow illuminates the room, filtered through small, high windows that cast slanted beams across the stone floor. The light catches on remnants of shelves and tables, revealing delicate fragments of scrolls, some rolled and tied with thin cords. One such scroll rests on a stone table in the center, its surface shimmering faintly as though breathing along with the room. You notice that the symbols on the scroll are composed of spirals and gentle curves, fluid and organic, evoking the slow dance of water itself. When your fingers hover nearby, the symbols shift subtly in color, reacting to the warmth of your hand and the cooler drafts from the vaulted ceiling. Some scholars have speculated that these spiraling glyphs are not language in the conventional sense, but rather a map of water as emotions, a way to record the subtle moods and qualities of flowing streams and rivers. You lean closer, tracing the spirals with your eyes, feeling a quiet curiosity bloom. Each twist and turn seems purposeful, a deliberate reflection of nature's rhythm. The more you observe, the more the patterns seem to move in tandem with your own breathing, a gentle synchronization that eases both mind and body. You chuckle softly to yourself, thinking that the Fischari may have been early meditation teachers, guiding through symbols rather than spoken words. The vaulted room has a gentle resonance, the sound of your footsteps muted by thick, worn stone. Occasionally, a small echo returns from the arched ceiling, stretching the moment before it fades into silence. You notice faint carvings along the walls, spirals, waves, and shapes reminiscent of water currents. Some are shallow and nearly imperceptible. Others are deeper, casting soft shadows that shift with the slanting light. It feels as though the walls themselves remember the movements of the streams outside, recording them in stone as the scrolls record them in spiraling ink. You move slowly toward a row of partially intact shelves, where more scrolls lie stacked in careful piles. Each scroll is unique, its surface catching the light in different ways. Some shimmer with soft greens and blues, others with muted amber, as if reflecting the light of dawn over a calm lake. The colors shift subtly depending on temperature and light, creating a living mosaic of ink and paper that seems to respond to your presence. You notice the delicate scent of old parchment mingled with the faint hint of mineral-rich water, as though the scrolls themselves have absorbed some essence of the valley. One scroll lies open before you, its surface cool to the touch. The spirals on the page seem to ripple gently under your gaze, and you feel a soft sense of movement in the room, as if the air itself is joining the slow flow recorded on the paper. The phenomenon is not frightening. Rather, it feels meditative, a subtle invitation to breathe in sync with the rhythm of the spirals. You imagine the Fischari scholars, who may have spent their lives here, observing water and recording its qualities, translating a liquid consciousness into delicate, looping symbols. It is a slow, deliberate, and deeply calming art. As you move further along the vaulted aisles, you notice that the scrolls are arranged not randomly, but in patterns that echo the flow of the streams outside. Each placement seems intentional, guiding visitors along a subtle path of light and shadow, reflection and stillness. The room encourages patience, inviting your eyes and thoughts to linger, absorbing the soft hum of history encoded in these spirals. You pause to let your hand hover over a small pile of scrolls, feeling a faint warmth radiating from them, as though the essence of the water itself is still present. The faint light from above continues to dance across the surfaces, highlighting the variations in color and texture of the scrolls. You notice tiny flecks of mineral embedded in the parchment, catching the light like stars reflected on a gentle lake. The air feels alive yet calm, as though the room itself listens, recording your slow movements in its subtle acoustics. You take a deep breath, letting the tranquility settle around you, allowing every inhale and exhale to synchronize with the rhythm of the spirals and the quiet pulse of the vault. In one corner, a particularly large scroll rests unfurled. The spirals on it seem to shimmer faintly in the dim light, expanding and contracting like the breath of water in a quiet pool. You lean closer, tracing the curves with your eyes, feeling a meditative warmth spreading through your chest. There is no rush here, no need to decipher or analyze, simply to notice, to experience the gentle movement of water, light, and air. Every scroll, every shimmer, Every soft echo of the vaulted room guides you deeper into a state of serene awareness. A slow, luminous immersion into the memory of water as recorded by a civilization long gone. As you finally step back to absorb the entire space, the room feels alive, yet profoundly still. The spirals, the gentle glows, the faint scent of herbs and water, and the delicate resonance of the vault all combine into a subtle symphony of calm. You realize that the library of the water memory is not just a repository of knowledge, it is a sanctuary of stillness, a place where presence and reflection are the highest pursuits. You breathe deeply, letting the soft energy of the room settle into your body, carrying with it a sense of connection to centuries of quiet observation and reverence for the gentle pulse of water. You leave the gentle quiet of the library behind and step onto a narrow path that winds through the valley. Moonlight spills across the landscape, soft and silver, highlighting the contours of stones and the delicate ripples of distant streams. Each step feels lighter here, as though the moon itself is guiding your feet along the worn path. The air is cooler, carrying a faint scent of moss and damp earth, and the soft rustle of leaves overhead accompanies the gentle hum of the night. You notice that even in this darkness, the world feels alive yet profoundly calm, each detail softly illuminated by the moon's embrace. Ahead, large flat stones emerge from the ground, arranged in an ancient pattern that seems deliberate yet organic. You step onto one, feeling its smooth, cool surface beneath your feet. There is a subtle vibration, almost imperceptible, like the slow inhale and exhale of the stone itself. You pause, placing your hands lightly upon it, and notice that the stone seems to respond, a gentle pulse that resonates through your fingers. This sensation has been reported by visitors for centuries, though its cause remains a mystery. Some believe it is the unique composition of the Fischari stone. Others suspect it is a rare interaction with the valley's shifting energy. Whatever the reason, the effect is calming, meditative, and grounding. The moonlight reflects off the stones, casting patterns that dance slowly across the valley floor. The shapes remind you of water flowing over rocks, their soft curves and shadows mimicking gentle currents. You kneel to touch a particularly smooth stone and feel the subtle warmth beneath your palm. It is as though the stone is breathing with the valley itself, drawing in the cool night air and releasing a quiet energy that encourages your own breath to slow and deepen. The rhythm is hypnotic, gentle, and consistent, like a lullaby composed in stone and moonlight. You notice the stones are not uniform. Some are cracked, others slightly raised, each with its own character and voice. A faint shimmer glimmers along one edge where the moonlight catches a thin layer of mineral, creating the illusion of water flowing across its surface. You imagine the Fischari walking these stones centuries ago, pausing to rest their hands and hearts upon them, feeling the pulse of the valley and learning from its quiet wisdom. The subtle movement of the stones, combined with the soft illumination of the moon, creates a sense of presence that is both ancient and intimate. Between the stones, tiny patches of moss and low-growing herbs add texture and softness. You kneel beside them, inhaling their faintly sweet, earthy scent. Even as the moonlight creates stark contrasts, the moss and herbs soften the scene, providing a gentle cushion to your senses. You notice the air is filled with delicate echoes, faint sounds of the valley-distant water trickling, leaves brushing softly, a bird call far off that linger briefly before fading completely. The sensation is unusual, yet comforting, as if the valley itself holds on to each sound just long enough for you to notice, teaching patience and attention through the soft resonance of nature. A few steps farther, a stone larger than the others rises like a small platform. You approach and place your hands on it, feeling the pulse again, slower and deeper than the smaller stones. The moonlight reflects in a subtle swirl on its surface, casting patterns that resemble gentle whirlpools. You imagine that each stone carries a memory, a trace of water's flow through the valley over centuries. When touched or approached, these memories ripple faintly into the present, offering a quiet connection to the Fischari and their intimate understanding of the land. The experience is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet profoundly soothing. You settle onto the platform stone, letting your body sink into the cool, smooth surface. The pulse beneath your hands continues softly, like a heartbeat that belongs not only to the stone, but to the valley itself. You close your eyes and notice your own breathing, aligning with the subtle rhythm. The moonlight bathes your face in silver warmth, and the surrounding stones seem to lean toward you, inviting you to linger, to observe, and to become fully immersed in the gentle energy of this place. Above, the sky is clear, stars shimmering faintly, mirrored by the gentle gleam of the stones below. Tiny nocturnal insects hum quietly, their vibrations blending with the soft pulse of the stones and the distant murmur of water. Every sensation feels heightened yet peaceful. Your mind softens, your muscles relax, and a gentle warmth spreads through your chest as you sink further into the tranquility of the night. The pulse of the stones, the shimmer of the moonlight, and the delicate sounds of the valley create a lullaby of presence, guiding you effortlessly into slow awareness. As you rest, you notice that even your thoughts begin to slow, each one drifting away like leaves carried on a soft stream. The stone's subtle pulse, the moonlight's gentle touch, and the quiet resonance of the valley work together to create a space that is timeless yet intimate. You feel as if the Fischari left these stones as a gift, a simple tactile way to connect with the quiet power of the night, a reminder to breathe, to notice, and to align with the slow rhythm of the world around you. You linger a little longer, letting the stone beneath you breathe in tandem with your own body, letting the gentle hum of the valley settle every tension. Moonlight dances softly across the surfaces, tracing spirals and curves that seem to echo the water motifs you have seen throughout the valley. Every sensation, the cool stone, the warm light, the faint vibrations, combines into a profound sense of calm. You feel linked to the ancient rhythm of the Fischari world, as though the valley's steady pulse flows through you, making you a quiet witness to its enduring meditation. In that stillness, you sense yourself dissolving into its timeless breath, held gently by a landscape that remembers more than you can name in this moment. You leave the soft moonlit stones behind and wander toward the walls of the next enclosure, where the valley narrows slightly, guiding your path along surfaces carved by centuries of careful hands. The stone walls rise on either side, cool and smooth, and your eyes are immediately drawn to the intricate reliefs etched into their surfaces. The designs are of fish, countless in number, each one flowing gracefully along the lines of the stone. But you notice something unusual. None of the fish have eyes. Their forms are complete, yet the absence of eyes gives them a dreamlike quality, as if they are quietly sleeping in the water. The sight evokes memories of ancient Moshe carvings in Peru, where fish and sea creatures were meticulously rendered in stone. Yet the Fischari seem to have taken this a step further. The eyeless fish are repeated over and over, their bodies forming rhythmic patterns along the walls. As you run your fingers lightly over the carvings, you feel the subtle texture of each scale, the gentle curves of fins, and the soft indentations of stone worn smooth by time. The lack of eyes is not unsettling, but strangely soothing, creating an impression of water in complete stillness, a deep, peaceful slumber beneath the surface. Some historians still debate whether the eyeless fish are symbolic of a meditative belief, a form of silent worship of water, or simply an artistic choice that reflects the Fischari's philosophy. You notice that the patterns on one wall continue without interruption, flowing into the next, creating a sense of continuity that mirrors the streams and rivers outside. It feels as though the fish themselves are moving slowly, imperceptibly, in the current of time, inviting you to slow your own pace to match theirs. Each step along the path becomes deliberate, measured, a dance in sync with the rhythm carved into stone. The walls are illuminated by a faint diffuse light, likely filtered from the opening above, which allows shadows to ripple gently across the carvings. The subtle contrast highlights the contours of the fish, making them seem almost alive in their serene repose. You take a moment to breathe, inhaling the cool, mineral-laden air of the valley, and notice that the space seems to amplify even the softest sound. Your own footsteps echo faintly, stretching for a moment before fading, adding to the meditative quality of the corridor. It is a place that seems designed for reflection, where movement and stillness coexist harmoniously. As you continue along the walls, you see that each fish is slightly different, unique in size, shape, and curvature. Some have gracefully extended fins, while others curl in tight, fluid loops. The repetition is not monotonous. It is subtle and rhythmic, like a flowing meditation, where small variations keep the observer attentive and calm. You imagine the artisans who carved these patterns, working slowly over years, carefully embedding the philosophy of sleep and stillness into each figure. The absence of eyes reinforces this sense of quiet surrender, a meditation on the fluidity of time and water. The soft hum of the valley seems to interact with the carvings. Tiny breezes ripple through the narrow corridor, brushing lightly across the stone surfaces and stirring small clusters of moss that cling to the lower edges of the walls. The combination of natural motion and carved patterns creates an almost hypnotic effect, drawing your attention deeper into the scene. You realize that the Fischari may have intended this, creating a space where sight, touch, and sound converge to foster a gentle, meditative awareness. Each detail, the contours of the fish, the play of light and shadow, the faint echo of sound, encouraged patience and quiet reflection. Some fish are positioned near small niches where water once trickled, leaving faint mineral stains along the stone. You step closer and notice that the interaction of light, stone, and subtle moisture gives these carvings an added depth, as if the fish are slightly luminous, their eyeless forms glowing softly in the filtered light. The effect is calming, almost hypnotic, reinforcing the sense that these creatures are truly sleeping in water. You chuckle softly, thinking that even centuries ago, the Fischari had a flair for subtle theatricality, using natural elements to enhance the serenity of their creations. You pause to let your eyes follow the flowing pattern of fish along the walls. The repetition, the gentle curvature, and the subtle interaction with light create a rhythm that matches the flow of your own breath. Each inhalation and exhalation becomes a reflection of the meditative current embedded in the stone. A corridor feels timeless, a space where movement slows naturally, where thought becomes softer, and where the presence of the eyeless fish reminds you to surrender to the calm rhythm of the valley. The farther you move, the more the patterns seem to merge with the surrounding environment. Moss, stone, and carvings all blend together, creating a seamless tapestry of quiet, flowing life. The effect is both grounding and expansive. Your awareness expands to include the walls, the air, and the faint hum of the valley, yet your mind feels lighter, freer, and completely present. You notice that even the smallest details, the curves of a fin, the gap between two fish, the gentle slope of the floor work together to guide your senses into a slow, deliberate attentiveness. By the time you reach the end of this carved corridor, you feel a gentle settling within yourself, as if the rhythm of the eyeless fish has synchronized with your own. The repetition, the stillness, and the subtle resonance of the valley create a sense of deep calm, a soft awareness that persists beyond the visual experience. The ancient patterns carved into the walls are more than decoration. They serve as a quiet meditation, guiding you into calm presence and reflection. Each fish, seemingly asleep in the flowing water, gently encourage you to slow your pace, breathe deeply, and attune yourself to the serene rhythm of life around you. Observing these subtle details, you feel a connection to the valley's gentle pulse, a reminder to move mindfully, stay present, and appreciate the quiet, flowing harmony of the world. You follow the winding path from the eyeless fish corridor, feeling the air shift subtly as you approach a grand structure rising from the valley floor. The Temple of Fisch appears slowly through the thinning mist, its presence serene and commanding without urgency. The entrance is framed by massive stone pillars, tall and perfectly balanced, reminiscent of ancient Greek gateways you have glimpsed in history books. Each pillar is carved with subtle patterns that catch the faint light, suggesting both artistry and purpose. A silent invitation to enter with reverence. As you step closer, a faint blue glow begins to shimmer along the top arch of the gate. It is soft and ethereal, not harsh or glaring, and it seems to pulse gently as though the stone itself breathes in rhythm with the night. You pause, letting your eyes adjust and taking a slow, deliberate breath, feeling the cool air mingle with the warmth of your own presence. The source of the glow remains unseen, adding a layer of quiet wonder to the moment. You imagine the countless travelers who may have paused here over centuries, witnessing the same subtle light and pondering its origin. The stone of the gate feels smooth under your touch, worn over centuries, yet sturdy, steady, and unyielding. It exudes a sense of patience, as if it has been waiting for the perfect moment to welcome each visitor. You trace the contours of the carvings lightly with your fingertips, feeling the gentle ridges and curves left by the artisans who shaped this portal. Every detail speaks of precision and care, yet there is a softness, a quality that encourages slow movement and quiet observation rather than hurried exploration. The ground beneath your feet is slightly uneven, composed of large, weathered stones. Each step is deliberate, connecting you with the history embedded in this place. The path leading to the gate is lined with small stones that reflect the faint glow of the blue light, creating an almost dreamlike pattern that guides you forward. You notice the subtle hum in the air, a vibration so soft that you only become aware of it when you pause and listen carefully. It is as if the gate itself emits a gentle welcome, a quiet acknowledgement of your presence. Beyond the pillars, the walls of the temple rise tall and silent, standing still as if guarding centuries of stories within. You feel a profound sense of calm in their presence, a gentle reminder that this space exists in its own rhythm, unaffected by the hurried world outside. The mist around the gate swirls softly, curling around the stone like smoke from an unseen incense burner, adding an ethereal quality to the approach. You inhale slowly, letting the scent of moss and ancient stone fill your senses, grounding you in the present while connecting you to the long continuum of history. The blue light above the gate flickers subtly, reflecting in your eyes like distant stars mirrored on water. You notice faint carvings along the stone surface, abstract shapes that hint at waves, spirals, and flowing water. Each detail seems purposeful, yet invites contemplation, a visual meditation that encourages a slow, reflective state. As you stand before the gate, the valley around you grows quieter, the distant murmur of streams and rustle of leaves fading into a gentle hush. Time here feels suspended, elongated, allowing each breath and movement to carry significance. You step closer, feeling the cool stone beneath your palms. The texture is rough yet comforting, grounding you as you absorb the quiet majesty of the temple. The arch above seems to reach upward, yet not imposing, and you sense a balance between openness and enclosure, a subtle invitation to enter the space thoughtfully. Even the faint vibrations in the stone beneath your feet resonate with a calming energy, a slow pulse that mirrors your own deepening awareness. Small shadows shift along the walls as the blue glow dances lightly across the stone, revealing patterns you hadn't noticed at first glance. The carvings suggest water in motion, spirals and currents that seem to echo the streams and pools you have passed along your journey. You feel a soft sense of connection, as though the gate and the temple beyond are extensions of the valley itself, an embodiment of its calm rhythm and reflective energy. Every detail, from the smooth pillars to the glowing arch, encourage gentle attention, patience, and a quiet appreciation of the moment. You stand for a while, letting the subtle energy of the gate fill your awareness. Each inhalation and exhalation aligns with the pulse of the stone, the flicker of blue light, and the soft whispers of the valley. The gate is more than an entrance. It is a threshold, a place of pause and reflection, a reminder that you are not merely moving through space, but also participating in a continuum of calm presence that has existed here for centuries. You allow yourself to linger, feeling a gentle anticipation, a sense of belonging, and a quiet readiness to step through into the inner sanctum of the Temple of Fisch. With a final deep breath, you place your hand lightly against the smooth surface of the pillar, feeling the subtle warmth of the stone and the steady pulse beneath. The blue light seems to shimmer in acknowledgement, and you feel a soft, almost imperceptible vibration that encourages your steps forward. The gate stands as a quiet guardian of history, mystery, and peace. You pause, taking in its presence, then step forward to continue your journey into the serene heart of the temple. Each movement is slow and deliberate, each breath mindful, allowing you to move gently through this sacred space, fully present and attuned to the calm, timeless rhythm that surrounds you. You step through the quiet gate and enter the Temple of Fisch, immediately noticing how the air feels lighter, almost suspended. The interior is vast yet intimate, with high ceilings that echo softly with every sound, yet nothing feels intrusive. Your footsteps are muted against the polished stone floor, reminiscent of Byzantine mosaics you've seen in books, where intricate patterns and careful craftsmanship speak of patience, reverence, and devotion. Each tile is smooth and cool beneath your feet, carrying the faint scent of centuries-old stone and distant water. The hall stretches before you, a calm expanse of orderly columns and subtle curves. Light filters in gently from high openings, casting long, soft shadows that shift slowly as the day outside changes. You notice the gentle hum of air movement, the faint echo of your own presence, mingling with the resonance of the space. Each sound is absorbed and softened, creating a sanctuary of stillness. The hall encourages you to walk slowly, to notice the small details. The way a beam of light falls on a column, the faint shimmer of a polished stone, the soft alignment of tiles that guides your eyes in subtle patterns across the floor. Your attention is drawn to a particular stone toward the east, its surface slightly different from the rest. You approach and feel its cool texture beneath your fingertips. There is a subtle warmth in the center, almost imperceptible, and as you watch, the color shifts slowly, as if influenced by an unseen hand. Scholars have noted that this change follows a 28-day cycle, mirroring the phases of the moon, though no one has yet explained why or how it occurs. You lean closer, tracing the stone with your eyes, feeling a deep sense of wonder and quiet contemplation. Even without understanding the mechanism, the stone evokes a rhythm that resonates with your own awareness, inviting patience and attentive observation. The columns of the hall are adorned with delicate carvings, subtle ripples that mimic the movement of water. You reach out lightly, tracing the curves with your fingertips. Each carving seems alive in its stillness, a frozen echo of streams and rivers once worshipped and revered by the Fischari. You notice the faint fragrance of herbs lingering from the valley outside, mixing with the coolness of the stone to create a sensory cocoon that encourages stillness. Every step, every breath, and every glance is slowed, as though the hall itself is guiding you into a mindful, meditative state. Light shifts gently across the floor, revealing hidden patterns in the stone mosaics that were imperceptible moments before. You notice subtle variations in texture and color, tiles that catch light differently, creating a delicate, shifting mosaic of reflections. It reminds you of watching sunlight ripple on water, ever-changing yet constant in its rhythm. You step carefully across the hall, your movements syncing with the slow, quiet energy of the space. Even your thoughts begin to soften, drifting like leaves on a calm stream, guided by the hall's gentle insistence on presence and attention. Small details continue to emerge as you walk further. A slight indentation in a tile that seems to hum faintly when pressed. A faint shimmer of mineral in the stone that glows subtly in the filtered light. You realize that the hall is alive in its own way, not with movement, but with the slow pulse of time, the subtle echoes of history, and the quiet breath of the earth itself. The alignment of stones, columns, and light creates a rhythm that is almost musical, a soft resonance that you feel as much as you hear. You pause in the center of the hall, letting your hands hover above the smooth floor. The subtle vibrations beneath your fingertips are calming, almost imperceptible, yet they encourage a sense of unity with the space. It is as if the hall itself acknowledges your presence, inviting you to rest, observe, and breathe in harmony with its gentle rhythm. You notice the play of shadows shifting along the columns, the faint glimmer of light across the polished stone, and the soft alignment of everything around you. All these elements work together to create a sense of unbroken calm, an invitation to be present, fully and quietly. A gentle draft moves through the high openings, carrying faint echoes of the valley outside, the soft rustle of leaves, the distant trickle of water, the subtle hum of the night. Each sound is absorbed and softened by the hall, creating a delicate layering that enhances the meditative quality of the space. You take a deep breath, letting the cool air mingle with the warmth of your own body, feeling a soft relaxation ripple through your muscles and thoughts. The hall encourages you to linger, to notice the patterns, the light, and the subtle pulse of stone beneath your feet. As you move toward the eastern stone again, the color continues to shift slowly, mirroring the gentle changes of the moon outside. You kneel and trace the surface lightly, feeling a deep connection to the natural cycles embedded within the temple. There is no rush here, no urgency, only the gentle unfolding of presence, awareness, and calm. Every glance, every breath, every subtle vibration of the hall carries you deeper into a state of serenity, a soft attunement with the rhythm of the Fischari world. You stand still for a moment, absorbing the quiet majesty of the hall, feeling both small and infinitely connected. The polished stones, the subtle changes in light and color, the gentle hum of air and stone awe combine to create a sanctuary of calm. Your breath syncs with the room's slow rhythm, as if the hall guides each inhale and exhale, drawing you into stillness that slows time and gently envelops you in calm. You walk further into the inner sanctum of the temple, feeling the subtle change in air as it grows slightly warmer and more enclosed. Above you, the roof has partially collapsed over centuries, allowing slivers of soft light to spill gently through the broken tiles. The effect is mesmerizing. Each beam seems to carry a quiet weight, illuminating particles of dust that drift lazily in the air like tiny stars suspended in motion. The gentle shafts of light remind you of the partially ruined Mayan temples you've seen in photographs, where time itself seems to leak through the cracks in the stone and wood. As you step forward, your eyes follow the delicate patterns created by the sunlight streaming through the gaps. Each beam spreads slowly, sliding across the stone floor in a warm, golden arc. The light falls on scattered remnants of pottery and fragments of stone, turning ordinary objects into quietly radiant pieces of art. You bend slightly to observe a shard of tile that catches the light just so, its edges glowing with a subtle iridescence. It is impossible to look away, yet there is no urgency here, only the encouragement to move slowly, breathe deeply, and notice the quiet beauty surrounding you. Beneath your feet, the cool stone floor stretches out, smooth and comforting. You pause over one particular stone that seems ordinary at first glance, but as the air cools around you, it emits a faint, almost imperceptible sound. It is delicate, like a tiny tap of water against the edge of a bank, soft enough that you must focus to hear it. No one has ever managed to recreate this phenomenon, yet here it exists. A quiet musical note born of temperature, stone, and perhaps the lingering energy of the temple. You kneel briefly, placing your hand lightly over the surface, feeling the cool stone pulse faintly beneath your palm. The sound persists, a gentle reminder of nature's subtle rhythms, harmonizing perfectly with the shafts of falling light. The beams of sunlight continue to shift slowly as the day progresses, stretching and narrowing with each passing moment. Dust motes catch in the light, moving like a lazy dance, tiny performers in a quiet ballet orchestrated by time itself. You notice the gentle interplay of light and shadow across the uneven floor, and the way the fallen roof allows slivers of sky to peek through, softening the edges of the temple. There is a sense of intimacy here, a feeling that you are witnessing something private, a secret held by the temple for centuries. The soft illumination creates a meditative rhythm, guiding your gaze and encouraging your senses to slow and deepen. You walk slowly across the stone floor, noticing how the scattered light falls across fragments of mosaic and small relics embedded in the temple. The fragments shimmer subtly, as if reflecting memories of past inhabitants. Some of the stones beneath your feet feel warmer than others, responding gently to shifts in the air or the touch of light. It is as if the temple itself is alive in the most subtle way, offering faint signals of movement and life to those who move carefully and pay attention. You inhale deeply, allowing the calm rhythm of the environment to resonate within you. Above you, the broken roof continues to create natural spotlights, each one highlighting different textures in the stone, from the smooth, polished surfaces to the rough, weathered edges. You notice the play of shadows along the walls, soft and elongated, and how the light bends slightly as it passes through tiny gaps in the tiles. The effect is hypnotic, inviting you to stand still, close your eyes for a moment, and let the gentle illumination wash over your senses. Even the faint echoes of distant wind and the occasional drip of water from above seem to join in a quiet, unhurried symphony. Returning your attention to the small stone that produces its soft, watery note, you allow yourself to linger there. The sound is almost imperceptible, yet it is calming, rhythmic, and strangely alive. Each tap seems to match the slow pace of the drifting sunlight, reinforcing the temple's meditative presence. You imagine that the Fischari might have been aware of this subtle property, using it as a gentle guide for reflection and contemplation. The phenomenon is so quiet, so delicate, that it encourages observation without demand, mindfulness without effort. You continue moving slowly, letting the light guide your steps. Your shadow stretches and contracts with each change in the sun, merging with the shadows of the scattered stones. Each footstep feels significant, yet effortless, as though the temple wants you to move carefully, to notice, and to become part of its rhythm. The combination of the roof's broken beauty, the soft golden light, and the faint musicality of the stones creates an atmosphere of profound calm. You feel lighter, more present, and deeply connected to the quiet pulse of the space. You pause at the hall's center, letting sunlight and faint stone music surround you. Each breath settles into the temple's quiet rhythm, slow, soft, deliberate. A gentle warmth blooms in your chest, a calm joy in simply being present. The time-worn roof still channels light with graceful purpose, proving that imperfection holds beauty. The falling light remains tender and patient, perfectly complementing the soft, watery tones rising from the stones beneath your feet. You take a deep, slow breath, letting the quiet beauty of the roof, the gentle illumination, and the subtle pulse of the temple settle into your body. Every sense is attuned to the hall's meditative energy, creating a profound, calming harmony. You feel present, yet gently removed from the world's rush. Here, light and stone whisper together, offering reflection, quiet wonder, and a calm connection that guides you toward deep serenity. You step through a narrow doorway and find yourself in a smaller chamber, where the air carries a subtle warmth and a faint scent of earth and aged clay. The walls here are lined with shelves carved directly from stone, each supporting a carefully arranged collection of ancient Fischari pottery. The soft glow from small openings in the ceiling illuminates the vessels, revealing intricate patterns and shapes that seem to have been crafted with extraordinary care. You notice that the colors are not uniform. Each piece carries subtle variations, a gentle gradient from one hue to another, as if the clay itself held a memory of sunlight and water. Your eyes are drawn to a tall vase near the center of the room. Its surface is a soft blue that shimmers subtly in the changing light. As you watch, the color seems to shift, slowly transforming into a silvery hue that glints faintly, almost like a reflection of the first drops of rain on a calm pond. You lean closer, feeling a sense of awe at the delicate change. No laboratory, no modern experiment has ever reproduced this phenomenon. The vase's transformation is subtle, mysterious, and completely natural, a silent testament to the unique craftsmanship of the Fischari. Some historians still debate whether the Fischari truly possessed an advanced understanding of minerals and glazes, a secret knowledge carefully preserved or ultimately lost to time. You move slowly from one vase to another, observing how each seems to hold its own quiet personality, shifting subtly in hue or texture as if responding to your presence. Some bear spiraling patterns that echo the flowing water motifs scattered throughout the valley, while others carry delicate impressions of leaves, fish, or other gentle forms of nature. Light filters softly through small openings, changing the appearance of each vessel in a slow, almost meditative dance of color and shadow. The room feels alive, though it remains utterly silent, as if the vases themselves are breathing with the rhythm of the space. You pause, letting your gaze linger, and feel a calm awareness that connects you to the quiet artistry and enduring mystery of the Fischari. A gentle draft flows through a narrow gap in the ceiling, brushing across the tops of the pottery. You notice that the airflow seems to enhance the subtle changes in color, creating a quiet interplay between air, light, and clay. The chamber is remarkably still otherwise, yet the faint movement of these natural elements seems to orchestrate a slow, meditative rhythm. Each change in shade, each tiny glimmer, draws your attention and encourages calm, deliberate observation. Your gaze lingers, softening with each passing moment, as you begin to feel aligned with the quiet pulse of the space. One particular bowl catches your eye, painted in delicate spirals reminiscent of whirlpools. As you watch, the blue tones shift ever so slightly toward silver along the edges, a visual cue that a storm may be approaching outside, though the air inside the chamber remains calm. The effect is so subtle that you might have missed it if you were not paying close attention. You imagine the Fischari watching these transformations for centuries, using them as gentle signals, a way to attune themselves to the rhythms of nature while engaging in quiet contemplation. You move closer to a shelf, holding smaller vessels, each one a tiny masterpiece of glaze and shape. The colors vary from muted greens to soft blues, with occasional flecks of gold or silver that catch the light like stars. Some of the jars hum faintly when touched, a soft vibration that you feel more than hear. It is almost as if the vessels themselves are alive, responsive to temperature, light, and presence. You smile softly, thinking that even hundreds of years later, the Fischari managed to create objects that feel intimate, interactive, and mysteriously aware. As you step further into the chamber, you notice subtle reflections dancing across the walls from the surfaces of the pottery. The light shifts slowly, producing a tranquil, ever-changing mosaic of color and shadow. Each vessel seems to communicate in whispers rather than words, sharing secrets of time, craft, and the delicate balance between human skill and natural forces. You take a deep, slow breath, feeling a soft relaxation spread through your body. As though the room itself is inviting you to slow down, observe carefully and align your own rhythm with the quiet transformations around you. Your gaze returns to the tall vase, still shimmering in soft blue and silver tones. You feel a quiet connection, as though the vessel recognizes your presence and responds in its own subtle, graceful way. There is no rush here, no urgency, only a gentle unfolding of awareness. You imagine generations of Fischari observing these vessels, learning patience and attentiveness, finding calm in the rhythm of color and light. The chamber's magic is not loud or dramatic. It is meditative, steady, and intimate, perfectly suited to the quiet, reflective spirit of the temple. Finally, you step back slightly, taking in the chamber as a whole. The walls, the shelves, the vessels, all of it seems in perfect harmony. Each subtle shift in glaze, each faint shimmer of color, reinforces a slow, mindful pace, encouraging you to breathe, pause, and absorb the calm energy surrounding you. You feel your thoughts soften, your muscles relax, and a quiet warmth spread through your chest. The chamber of shifting glazes is a sanctuary where time seems to pause, and every subtle shift of color and play of light draws your attention inward, inviting calm reflection. Here, even the smallest details, the delicate curves of a vessel, the faint shimmer of a glaze, or the whisper of shadow across a surface offer quiet guidance, gently leading you toward a deep, peaceful sense of serenity and presence. You step into a narrow corridor lined with smooth stone walls, and your attention is immediately drawn to the delicate spiral patterns carved deeply into the surfaces. The spirals twist and flow like miniature whirlpools, echoing the gentle movement of water in the streams outside. At first glance, they remind you of Mesopotamian inscriptions, the soft curves and spirals, softened and rounded in ways that feel organic, almost fluid. Unlike the rigid, angular carvings of distant civilizations, these water symbols seem to breathe, as if each line carries its own subtle rhythm, gently inviting your gaze to follow the flow. As you move slowly along the corridor, you notice that some of these spiral patterns appear repeatedly across walls and columns, even in distant sections of the temple. The repetition is precise, but not mechanical, as though the Fischari had a quiet system for connecting different parts of their sacred spaces with a shared visual language. You pause to trace a spiral with your finger, feeling the gentle groove worn smooth by centuries of air and touch. The pattern feels familiar, yet mysterious, as though it carries a message that transcends words. The corridor seems to hum softly with its own resonance, though no source of sound is visible. It is as if the carvings themselves amplify the quiet energy of the space, echoing the flowing water that has long shaped the valley. Some spirals are tiny, subtle, almost hidden in corners, while others dominate entire walls, their fluid forms stretching across stone surfaces like frozen currents. You notice how the shapes interact with light, shadows falling into the curves in a way that makes them seem alive, shifting slightly as your perspective changes. Scholars have suggested that these spirals may represent the Fischari's deep reverence for water, a sacred element believed to connect life, thought, and spirit. The term water sleepers is used by some historians to describe the repeating motifs, referring to the belief that water carries memory and consciousness, capable of recording and responding to human presence. You imagine the Fischari moving quietly through these halls, perhaps meditating beside the carvings, drawing inspiration from the soft curves and spiraling forms as they sought guidance from the natural rhythms of streams and rivers. Some of the spiral patterns in the Fischari Temple have curious parallels in structures thousands of kilometers away, carved into stone in places you might least expect. This has led some researchers to speculate that the Fischari may have had contact with other ancient civilizations, exchanging knowledge and beliefs across vast distances. You follow a particularly intricate spiral along the wall, noticing its similarity to one you've seen in photographs of faraway ruins. The connection is subtle, yet undeniable, a quiet reminder that ideas and symbols can travel, evolve, and unify cultures in ways that remain mysterious to this day. The corridor narrows slightly, and the spirals here are smaller, more concentrated, their curves flowing into one another in hypnotic continuity. You pause to let your eyes rest on a section where several spirals converge, forming a pattern reminiscent of eddies and whirlpools in a gentle stream. The effect is calming, almost meditative, drawing your attention inward as your breathing aligns with the visual rhythm. You feel a subtle awareness of time stretching, each moment lingering like a droplet on still water. As you continue, you notice faint traces of pigment within some of the carvings, remnants of ancient color that have faded but hint at original blues and silvers. The gentle traces suggest that the Fischari may have once used the spirals not only as sacred symbols, but also as visual guides for meditation or ritual. The faint coloring adds another layer of depth, making the carving seem alive with memory, like a river that retains echoes of all who have passed along its banks. You lean closer, sensing a quiet energy in the grooves, a soft connection to the lives of those who once revered these forms. The more you observe, the more you realize that the water spirals are not merely decorative. They seem to respond to the space around them, guiding light, shadow, and even airflow in subtle ways that enhance the meditative quality of the corridor. Tiny currents of air drift through the hall, brushing lightly against the carvings, and you notice a faint, almost musical resonance when the wind passes through the deeper grooves. It is as if the symbols themselves participate in the temple's quiet rhythm, their presence shaping the sensory experience of those who walk among them. You pause again, standing in the center of the corridor, letting the patterns fill your vision and your awareness. The spirals invite gentle attention, a slow, deliberate observation that softens your thoughts and encourages a calm, reflective state. Each spiral, each eddy, each repetition across distant walls feels like a quiet conversation with time itself, a reminder that the Fischari lived in harmony with the rhythm of water and the flow of life. The corridor hums softly with this unspoken dialogue, and you feel your own breath aligning with its gentle pulse. By the time you reach the far end of the hall, a deep sense of calm has settled around and within you. The spirals of the water sleepers have guided your gaze and your thoughts, each curve and repeating form gently reinforcing a meditative awareness. You feel a quiet connection to the natural rhythms surrounding the temple, and a subtle understanding of the Fischari's reverence for water as both a tangible presence and a spiritual essence grows within you. Standing there, you pause for a moment, allowing the spiral's gentle, flowing energy to settle into your mind, carrying a soft, lingering calm. With this, you are ready to continue your journey deeper into the temple, moving slowly, deliberately, and fully present. You step through a low stone archway and find yourself in a chamber that feels immediately different from any space you have passed before. The air is cooler, carrying a subtle, clean scent, and the walls curve gently in a design reminiscent of medieval European meditation halls. The architecture invites calm, guiding your eyes upward to arches and vaults that meet in perfect symmetry. Each surface is smooth and worn with age, yet the geometry feels precise, as though the builders intended every curve and angle to support the quietude of the space. As you approach the center of the chamber, you notice a soft, almost imperceptible vibration beneath your feet. It is not a tremor, nor a sound in the traditional sense, but a subtle resonance that seems to emanate from the very structure of the room. When you pause and close your eyes, the sensation spreads, gently pulsing like tiny ripples across the surface of a calm pond. Each breath you take seems to sync with the rhythm, creating a slow, meditative alignment between your body and the room itself. The chamber is filled with soft echoes, yet the sound is never intrusive. A distant drip of water, the faint shifting of stone, or even the whisper of air along the curved walls merges seamlessly with the vibrations underfoot. You realize that the combination of these elements, architecture, material, and perhaps some unseen phenomenon, produces a resonance that encourages stillness and introspection. You take a careful step forward, feeling the gentle pulse beneath each footfall, and notice how it seems to ripple outward, reaching every corner of the hall. The room is sparsely decorated, with only a few stone benches along the walls, each smooth and cool to the touch. You place your hand lightly on one, feeling the subtle hum extend through your fingers, a tactile echo of the vibrations you feel in your feet. The chamber seems to reward attention, each careful motion amplifying your awareness of the slow, soft resonance that surrounds you. It is impossible to determine the source of the vibration, yet its effect is undeniable. A quiet, grounding energy that encourages deep calm. Light enters the chamber through small openings high in the vaulted ceiling. Shafts of soft illumination fall on the polished floor in gentle lines, interacting with the vibrations to create tiny, flickering patterns of shadow that seem to move with a life of their own. You watch these patterns with slow, deliberate attention, noticing how the subtle shifts in light align with the rhythm of the room. It feels as though the chamber itself is breathing, expanding and contracting in a rhythm that mirrors the natural pulses of water or the gentle swing of a pendulum. As you stand in the center of the room, the resonance seems to heighten. Your body feels lighter, and your thoughts begin to soften. The faint pulse under your feet travels upward through your legs and torso, grounding you in the moment. You realize that the chamber is not merely a space, but a facilitator of mindfulness, a carefully designed environment that encourages slow, meditative awareness. Each movement, no matter how small, is amplified gently, and every pause is enhanced, giving a sense of intentional stillness that seems almost tangible. You notice the faint echo of your own breathing, blending with the vibrations in the chamber. Inhaling deeply, you feel the rhythm expand. Exhaling, it contracts softly, like the ebb and flow of water along a quiet shore. The chamber seems to hold and magnify the energy of presence itself, creating a feedback loop of calm and attentiveness. You imagine that the Fischari, much like European meditators centuries later, may have used this space to attune themselves to subtle forces, both within and around them, learning patience, observation, and inner quiet. Small details continue to draw your attention. The gentle curve of a wall where light lands just so, a faint fissure in the stone carrying subtle vibrations, and the soft sparkle of minerals embedded in the floor. Each element is delicate on its own, yet together they amplify the room's quiet resonance, creating a heightened awareness of the space. You sense the chamber as both ancient and alive, a living vessel of subtle energy. Its presence invites you to breathe slowly, notice deeply, and feel a serene connection that transcends ordinary perception. Time seems to slow here. Each step, each breath, each subtle pulse is measured, deliberate, and comforting. You pause to stand fully in the center once more, feeling the vibrations envelop your entire body. There is no hurry, no expectation, only the slow, gentle acknowledgement of presence and space. The chamber encourages stillness, not through silence alone, but through a harmonious combination of vibration, architecture, and light, guiding you into a state of profound calm. You take one final, deep breath, letting the gentle resonance fill your awareness completely. Your body feels heavier, yet lighter at the same time. Your thoughts softened into quiet ripples, like water settling in a calm basin. The chamber of quiet resonance offers a rare experience, a silent connection with subtle energy, an invitation to move slowly, breathe deeply, and be entirely present. You step toward the exit with slow, measured steps, each footfall echoing softly against the quiet walls of the chamber. The gentle pulse of the room lingers with you, a subtle rhythm that seems to flow into your own breath, guiding it into calm, deliberate patterns. You feel the energy of the space settling into your mind and body, softening your thoughts and quieting any remaining tension. With each step, your awareness remains gentle and present, carrying the serene, meditative essence of the chamber forward as you continue your journey deeper into the temple, fully immersed in tranquility. You step out from the quiet resonance of the chamber and find yourself in the open air, entering the ruins of the Fischari garden. The remnants of carefully arranged terraces and stone pathways stretch before you, faintly reminiscent of ancient Roman gardens designed for observing the sky. You notice the subtle alignment of stones and plantings, suggesting that the Fischari once used this space not only for meditation, but also to harmonize their daily rhythms with the sun, moon, and stars. The soft rustle of leaves and the distant trickle of water bring a quiet intimacy to the expansive ruins. Amid the scattered stones, you notice a remarkable species of flower, unique to this garden. Its petals are partially closed, yet they respond slowly to the fading light, folding inward with extreme deliberation as evening approaches. You pause to watch, realizing that the motion is so gradual that it almost seems to stretch the perception of time itself. The soft closing of each petal feels hypnotic, a living clock that marks the passage of hours in an almost imperceptible rhythm. Observing it, you feel your own thoughts slow, your awareness extending outward to match the measured pace of the flower. The air carries a faint, earthy fragrance, mingling with the subtle aroma of dried herbs and flowers that once filled the garden. Your fingers brush gently against the low stone walls, worn smooth by countless years of sun and wind. The terraces guide your gaze upward to the sky, revealing glimpses of pale light and drifting clouds. You notice how the stones are aligned with particular celestial points, hinting at careful observation and intentional design. Even now, long after the garden's original caretakers are gone, the layout conveys a sense of reverence for both the natural and cosmic rhythms. Walking slowly along the main path, you notice small pools or basins carved into the stone, now mostly empty, but hinting at the careful management of water in the past. It is remarkable that the garden still supports these peculiar flowers, whose petals slowly close each evening, despite the arid environment around them. No one knows how these blooms obtain sufficient moisture, yet they persist, thriving quietly in defiance of the dry conditions. Their presence feels like a subtle reminder that life finds ways to endure, often in forms that defy immediate understanding. The gentle motion of the flowers draws your gaze downward and inward, encouraging contemplation. You notice that each plant seems to occupy its own space deliberately, leaving room for others, creating a quiet balance across the ruins. Their slow, deliberate closing suggests patience, a meditative rhythm that contrasts with the hurried pace of the world beyond the garden walls. You imagine the Fischari moving through this space in centuries past, sitting quietly beside the flowers, perhaps reflecting on water, time, or the unseen forces that guide both. You pause beside a cluster of delicate flowers, letting your fingers drift lightly over the cool surface of a low stone wall. The texture shifts beneath your touch rough in some spots, smoothed by time in others, while the lingering warmth of the afternoon sun seeps softly into your palm. The slow, deliberate motion of the petals seems in quiet dialogue with the gentle shifting of light across the terrace, as though the garden itself breathes in harmony with the day's passage. Each petal, stone, and shadow weaves together a subtle meditative rhythm, inviting you to inhale deeply, exhale fully, and sink into a serene state of presence and calm awareness. Some small, hardy shrubs and remnants of herbs cling to the terraces, their leaves rustling softly in the mild evening breeze. You notice the way shadows stretch across the stones as the light fades, elongating and softening, like water flowing gently over rocks. The sensation of extended time continues. Each movement, whether of plant, stone, or light, feels slow and deliberate, as if the garden has slowed the very rhythm of your perception. The harmony between architecture and nature creates a subtle meditation, a reminder that every element, stone, flower, and sky, can guide awareness and calm. You step further along the main terrace and notice the faint remains of water channels, carved carefully to distribute moisture to the plants. Even now, the paths seem to retain a hidden balance, directing air, light, and perhaps unseen moisture subtly across the garden. It is as though the Fischari understood a delicate relationship between water, plant life, and human observation, preserving it in the garden's design. Observing this quiet engineering evokes a sense of wonder, as the ingenuity of the Fischari combines seamlessly with the meditative purpose of the space. Pausing at the edge of the garden, you allow your gaze to take in the entire scene. The terraces, stone pathways, pools, and the unusually slow-closing flowers create an atmosphere of gentle meditation. Time stretches in harmony with the slow movement of petals, the fading sunlight, and the whisper of the evening breeze. The ruins are silent yet alive, each element communicating its own story of care, observation, and reflection. You feel a profound sense of calm, your body softening, your mind slowing, and your awareness merging with the enduring rhythm of the garden. You settle quietly on one of the smooth terraces, observing the flowers as they fold their petals in slow, deliberate motion. The air is soft and fragrant, the light gentle and warm, and the stillness around you feels complete. In this tranquil moment, the Fischari garden imparts lessons of patience, mindfulness, and the quiet beauty found in gradual change. You inhale deeply, letting the calm fill your body, carrying the subtle rhythms of the garden within. You feel fully present, intimately connected to the space, its history, and the enduring serenity that lingers in every stone and blossom. You continue your quiet journey through the temple grounds and find yourself standing at the edge of a series of shallow pools, their surfaces perfectly still, reflecting the sky and ruins above with uncanny clarity. The water is so calm that it mirrors every broken tile, every fragment of stone, as though holding a secret memory of the temple's past. You kneel slightly to look closer, noticing that the pools resemble the meditative ponds often found in ancient Chinese temples, designed to encourage reflection, both literal and metaphorical. The air is cool here, carrying a gentle chill that contrasts with the warmer stone pathways you've walked along, inviting your body to relax further with each measured breath. As you focus on the water, you begin to discern faint, glowing symbols beneath the surface. They are subtle, almost ethereal, shifting with the slightest ripple or shadow. Some appear like tiny whirlpools, echoing the water motifs you've seen elsewhere in the Fischari Temple. Others are geometric, delicate, and complex, as though representing language or knowledge that has been lost to time. You wonder whether they are naturally formed by mineral deposits and light refraction, or intentionally crafted by the Fischari as part of their quiet rituals. The ambiguity makes the moment more compelling, drawing your attention with the same gentle insistence as the slow folding petals of the garden flowers. The temperature of the water is noticeably cooler than the surrounding air, creating a soft, refreshing sensation as it touches your skin. You dip a fingertip into the pool, feeling the cold seep into your hand and travel upward, calming your pulse and heightening your awareness of subtle details. The surface remains nearly undisturbed, rippling only slightly as if the pools themselves are breathing slowly. The faint glow of the symbols seems to respond to your movement, reflecting a soft, shifting light that follows the contours of the water. You feel a sense of quiet wonder, imagining the Fischari observing these pools centuries ago, attuning themselves to the stillness, clarity, and hidden patterns within. As you walk along the edge of the first pool, the reflections change with the movement of the light above. Broken tiles and stone fragments appear doubled in the mirrored surface, creating layered images that are both disorienting and soothing. The soft illumination of the glowing symbols beneath the water adds depth and mystery, turning the pool into a silent, contemplative canvas. You notice how each symbol seems slightly different from the last, yet collectively they create a rhythm, a subtle order that feels meditative. It is as though the pools themselves are repositories of memory, quietly storing the presence of generations long past. You pause by a corner pool where the water is deepest, peering beneath the surface to observe a cluster of small, spiral patterns. Their glow is faint but persistent, moving slowly with the tiniest currents. You cannot tell whether they were painted, etched, or simply a natural arrangement of minerals. Yet their presence evokes the same meditative quality you've encountered throughout the temple. The quiet repetition of shapes encourage your mind to slow, to focus gently, and to allow the body's awareness to expand into the stillness around you. The effect is calming, almost like sitting beside a quietly flowing stream where every droplet carries centuries of memory. The reflection of the sky above merges with the symbols beneath the water, blending day and depth into a serene, suspended moment. Clouds drift slowly across the mirrored surface, while the faint luminescence of the underwater symbols remains constant. A gentle pulse that guides your gaze and encourages observation without effort. You notice how your own reflection interacts with the scene, pairing briefly alongside the symbols, reminding you that the present moment is inseparable from the layered history of this space. Small ripples form occasionally as a breeze brushes across the pools, causing the glowing symbols to dance and shimmer subtly. The motion is slow, deliberate, and hypnotic. You allow yourself to follow the patterns with soft, relaxed attention, noticing how each disturbance in the water creates a transient choreography, blending the natural with the mysterious. The coolness of the water, the faint glow of the symbols, and the mirrored reflections of the ruins all work together to create an immersive, meditative atmosphere that encourages deep relaxation and mindfulness. You continue along the series of pools, taking your time, walking slowly, and allowing the serene energy of the water to sink into your body. Each step, each observation, reinforces a sense of calm, a quiet harmony between your presence and the environment. The glowing symbols, the perfect stillness of the water, and the cool, enveloping air all combine to create a gentle, restorative experience. Time feels elongated here, measured not in minutes, but in subtle moments of reflection, much like the slow folding petals of the Fischari flowers. Finally, you pause at the last pool, allowing your gaze to linger on the mirrored surface and the faint, mysterious symbols beneath. The soft coolness of the water, the faint luminescence, and the perfectly still reflections invite you to breathe slowly and deeply. You feel your muscles soften, your mind quiet, and a profound sense of serenity fill your awareness. The pools reflecting forgotten symbols present a quiet, rare gift, a pause in time where stillness and wonder fill your awareness. You stand at the water's edge, watching the glassy surface mirror faint, enigmatic symbols, their origin lost to centuries, but their presence softly resonating in the air. In this gentle space, you can align your breath with the subtle rhythm of the pools, your thoughts settling like leaves drifting on calm water, and your senses opening to the mysterious harmony of the ancient Fischari Temple. Each ripple, shadow, and shimmer encourages serene, meditative presence. You step away from the quiet pools and begin your slow walk back along the temple's pathways. The stones beneath your feet feel familiar now, smooth from centuries of careful placement, reminiscent of the ancient Roman roads you've read about. Each step is deliberate, measured, and accompanied by the soft echo of your movement against the surrounding walls. The evening light has begun to soften, casting long, gentle shadows across the path. You notice how the remnants of moss and lichen cling to the stone edges, lending the walk a sense of continuity between past and present, nature and human craft. As you wander deeper into the soft, waning light, your eyes catch the faint glow of small stones embedded along the path. Each one seems to hold a gentle, inner luminescence, subtle enough to be almost unnoticed, yet persistent enough to guide your slow, deliberate steps. You wonder whether it is the unique mineral composition of the Fischari Valley, or perhaps a quiet interplay of fading light and the cool evening air. Regardless of its origin, the glowing stones imbue the path with an otherworldly, dreamlike quality. Each step feels weightless, as though you are floating along a corridor suspended between memory and reality. The soft illumination wraps around you, blending seamlessly with the drifting mist, the distant hills, and the hush of the valley, creating a serene, meditative rhythm with every movement. A soft blue mist drifts along the edges of the path, curling gently around the bases of walls and terraces. The Fischari called this phenomenon the evening breath of the valley, a thin veil of moisture that appears as daylight fades and night begins to settle. You inhale slowly, noticing how the mist carries a faint scent of damp earth, stone, and herbs that once grew in the temple gardens. The cool touch against your skin is calming, and the gentle veil of mist seems to elongate each moment, encouraging slow, reflective steps as you make your way homeward. You notice the quiet interplay of light and mist along the path. Shadows stretch and soften, blending with the ethereal blue of the drifting haze. Small movements of air ripple across the stone, creating tiny shifts in the fog that feel almost like breathing. The effect is subtle, hypnotic even, as though the valley itself is guiding you in a slow meditative rhythm. Your steps are careful and gentle, and with each one, you feel more in tune with the soft energy of the surroundings. Along the edges of the pathway, the occasional glimmer of mineral-rich stones continues to catch your attention. The glow is faint, almost shy, yet it offers a delicate visual melody that pairs beautifully with the whispering mist. You notice how your shadow stretches across the stones, merging with the phosphorescent hints, creating an ever-changing pattern that feels both alive and serene. You imagine that generations of Fischari may have walked these same paths in similar evening light, feeling the calming pulse of the valley and the gentle energy of the stones beneath their feet. As you move forward, the valley around you deepens into quiet stillness. The distant hills exhale soft mists, carrying a cooling breath across the path. Your senses heighten slightly, attuned to the delicate sounds, the faint rustle of leaves, the distant trickle of water from a hidden stream, and the occasional soft echo of your own footsteps. Each element blends seamlessly, creating a layered calm that draws you into the moment with gentle insistence. You realize that the evening mist is not simply moisture in the air, but a bridge between the temple's ancient past and your present presence. The path curves slightly, guiding you past remnants of stone markers and low terraces. The glowing mineral stones seem to pulse faintly with your movement, enhancing the rhythm of the walk. The mist thickens just enough to soften distant shapes, blurring the lines between ground, wall, and sky. You notice your breath lingering in the cool evening air, forming a fleeting, delicate mist before quietly dissolving. Each inhale and exhale begins to synchronize with the soft, gentle rhythm of the valley, creating a calm, meditative presence within your body and mind. The subtle harmony of air, stone, and mist encourages a slow, reflective awareness, letting each breath carry you deeper into the serenity of the Fischari landscape and the tranquil flow of evening light. A slight breeze carries the faint scent of the ancient gardens, of herbs and flowers long past their prime, but lingering in memory. You pause briefly on a small terrace, letting the cool mist brush your face. The valley feels suspended in this delicate twilight, neither day nor night fully claiming the space. You take a deep, slow breath, feeling the mist, the stones, and the soft glow of the mineral lights all coalesce into a quiet, reflective harmony. Time seems to stretch, each step and breath a gentle, deliberate meditation. Continuing along the path, the faint illumination of stones and the drifting blue mist gradually fade as you approach the outskirts of the temple. The experience leaves a lingering sense of calm and gentle awareness, as though the valley has imparted a quiet blessing. Each stone you pass, each delicate wisp of mist curling through the air, and every faint flicker of phosphorescent glow lingers in your awareness, creating a soft guiding rhythm that draws your body and breath into a state of gentle evening rest. You move forward slowly, deliberately noticing the subtle shifts of light and shadow across the valley. The day's energy gradually softens, merging with the quiet, steady pulse of the Fischari Valley. With each step, you savor the gentle descent of twilight, the delicate hush settling over the landscape, and the calm, serene presence that wraps around you like a warm, soothing blanket. As you leave the softly glowing stones behind and step into the open space beyond the temple, the ruins of the Fischari Temple seem to melt gently into the gathering darkness. The delicate terraces, reflective pools, and weathered stone walls slowly dissolve beneath the evening's soft cloak, while a faint ancient mist rises from the valley floor, curling around arches and remnants of pathways. You imagine the 18th century explorers, who described this valley as a place where past and present intertwined, and each step you take feels lighter, as if the earth itself is guiding you into a calm, deliberate rhythm of reflection. The last traces of sunlight touch the upper edges of the temple walls, highlighting the textures of worn stone, carved symbols, and terraces overgrown with resilient herbs. You notice the careful alignment of stones, the subtle shimmer in pools, and the faint echo of distant water, all weaving together a quiet, meditative harmony. As you follow the outer paths, the valley seems to breathe in time with you. The cool air carries the scent of damp earth, herbs, and faint minerals that still glow softly. Mist drifts lazily, blurring edges and merging the visible with the unseen. Every detail, from closed garden petals to shimmering pools, encourages a deep, meditative calm, as though the Fischari lived in complete harmony with the rhythms of nature, almost dissolving seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. You pause at the edge of a terrace, gazing across the valley as the pools mirror the faint glow of distant stars. Mist drifts slowly over the hills and scattered ruins, softening every edge, and you feel as if the valley, the temple, and even the gentle wind are guiding your awareness inward. Your breathing slows, naturally aligning with the quiet rhythm of your surroundings. Beneath your feet, the ancient stones seem to hum softly, echoing countless moments the Fischari spent attuning themselves to the subtle energies of this place. A soft blue haze curls around low walls and broken columns, transforming the ruins into a delicate, dreamlike scene. Each step forward is measured and deliberate, carrying the weightless calm that has grown throughout your journey. The valley is hushed yet alive. Every whisper of wind, every shimmer of stone and water, weaves a meditative tapestry, inviting you to slow, release tension, and simply exist in this serene, timeless space. The shadows deepen as the light slowly fades, stretching and softening across the valley. You notice once again the faint glow of mineral stones embedded along the path, their gentle pulse guiding your steps like quiet lanterns in the dimming air. The mist drifts in soft, curling patterns, blending with the darkness to create a seamless connection between the temple and the surrounding valley. Each inhale fills your lungs with cool, crisp air, and each exhale carries away the lingering restlessness of the day. In this still, quiet moment, the legacy of the Fischari becomes almost tangible, not through artifacts alone, but through the serene rhythm of the space, the delicate balance of light and shadow, and the subtle harmony with nature. You pause to look down at the pools, their surfaces deep and mirror-like, reflecting only faint glimmers of stars and drifting mist. Beneath the water, the glowing symbols shimmer softly, as if retaining the memory of generations long past. You let your gaze linger, sensing the completion of this part of your journey. Each carved symbol, every smooth stone, and every gentle ripple carries a quiet resonance, a whisper of a civilization that moved with patience and harmony, leaving behind calm rather than noise. As you begin your slow descent from the temple, each step is deliberate, guided by the faint glow of stones and the distant, soft chorus of water and wind. The valley feels suspended between day and night, past and present. With every step, your body relaxes and your mind lets go of the day's details. You pause once more, inhale deeply, and feel the terraces, pools, flowers, and stones settle their serene presence into you, leaving you light, calm, and attuned to the gentle pulse of the Fischari Valley. In the soft darkness of night, your journey slowly settles like mist dissolving into the quiet air. The stones of the ancient steps, the vaulted library arches, the drifting blue haze, and the slow folding flowers all flow into a serene stream within your mind. Each vision from the Fischari Temple becomes a gentle wave, carrying your body into a state lighter, softer, and deeper. You can feel your breath aligning with the stillness of the valley, as if every sound is now only the faintest touch of water against stone. All the day's tension begins to melt away, gently and naturally, without effort. There is nothing to hold, nothing to resist. Warmth spreads slowly through you, like a candle's soft glow in a quiet room. The calm ripples outward, filling your body and mind, leaving only a deep, gentle softness. The pool's reflections, the mist, the glowing stones, and the slow petals have all guided you to this moment. Complete relaxation. Your eyes feel heavy, your body feels light, and your mind is free to drift along the gentle currents of the night. You are safe. You are calm. You are entirely present in this peaceful, endless valley. Let your breath continue to flow gently, the rhythm of the valley carrying you softly into sleep. You may feel the subtle pulse of the temple around you, as if even the stones themselves are wishing you rest. Each heartbeat becomes slower, each exhale more complete, and the tranquility of the Fischari Valley embraces you completely. Sleep deeply, sleep softly, and may your dreams be as calm and timeless as the waters and stones of this forgotten temple. End of script. Thank you for listening, everyone.